This is a prime example here. I'll get down here a little more of what I told you yesterday or earlier. I'm going to assume there's a beaver in there. If there isn't, you can edit it. But you know, look, there's no trap, there's no blockage or anything, and that's at 8 foot of cable. Lots of times, if you keep the stakes down fairly low, I think they rear up when that conibear hits them and pop off the stakes, and then they end up out in out of the run and out of the way, and you're not scaring other beaver then. Watch me step in a trap or something. Well, that 8 foot of cable, I cabled off over on this tree, and right there's the top of one of the stakes. The other stake is a natural stake. It was this one. It's bent now. But, you know, it was down there pretty short. So my trap set right here, and yet you don't see anything. And when I reel them in, he was over there out of the way of the next beaver. That's a honking one. Now, see how fast they come off everything else we've been catching around the head? That's how hard they come off these when they launch. This guy got caught all the way to the back. They're covering some ground when they push themselves off that hard.
So I know it doesn't matter in the hatter market, but do those traps make a mark?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, what I notice when I'm skinning or fleshing is there's almost like a jerk eat spot. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen that? And I don't know why it goes like that, but yeah, you can see it. But it's less damage, I think, than a snare. When I went to Mississippi and got turned loose using snares, which in PA at that point you couldn't use anything, not even cable restraints, I went kind of snare nutso. And I come to the point, I snared one beaver this week. But maybe under ice it would be just the ticket. But in this kind of trapping, I prefer not to snare. You end up with a live beaver here instead of what you just saw. And the damage is as bad, if not worse, in a snare than you see in even these Magnum conibears. What's Red use? A mixture of brands, or do you have a favorite?
I'm not sure on the 330s.
Jerry's using the Dukes, but he's also trapping a lot of otter, and those Dukes are a little smaller, like 9.5. They're kind of in between a 280 and a 330. Oh my word, that's a heavy beaver.
I think Red has a bunch of different brands.
Here's another thing on setting safety is to, oh, watch, that's the hole. Make sure before you get going that cable is on the side it should be, because if it loops through the trigger at some point, you got trouble. You're going to snap yourself. And I'm usually shooting for just the eyes of the trap springs being just below the surface. Sometimes if it won't stay exactly where you should, you can kind of get a extra stick in there. I think they see that, they say, that's not quite right, and they try and beat it. If it's a smart one, occasionally you'll get them, they'll walk around it. But even for a hokey sort of set there, the majority of them will go through it, I think.
Well, just think of yourself walking down a trail. Low-hanging branch, a duck.
Yeah. Well, and there's subtle ways. When you find these traps snapped, or this type of set snapped, I think the beaver was trying to go over it. And so I try and, instead of really putting something heavy there, I try and have something just in their face, sort of deal. Just less comfortable going over. Well, let's see what else we got.